Have you ever told the truth and then immediately felt bad after doing it? This video is for those that always get that guilt that comes with telling the truth, whether it be something going down deep inside and the reaction from other people when we tell them the truth. Because when we tell the truth, many times we are meant to feel like, it's a freeing feeling. Yes, that's true to a certain extent. But also, we have a lot of unresolved trauma that kind of comes up through us when we speak it. And a lot of times it comes with people, especially if you are a people pleaser, you are an empath, and you're somebody that grew up in a household where we were the peacekeepers. We were the ones trying to keep harmony in the house. We didn't like the conflict. It was better to keep things kind of under wraps, so to speak, right? Brush it under the rug. And many times parents would tell us, keep this quiet from your mother. Don't tell your father. And with all of that kind of going on in our world, if you've experienced that, I know I have, we tend to hate telling the truth as we grow older because we just don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. We want to keep the peace, right? Or we don't know how that other person is going to react to the situation, to us telling the truth. I recently went through something like that, where sometimes it's just who I am in nature. I like to flow when I speak, and I like to just, sometimes there is no filter between what's in my head and kind of what comes out of my mouth. And unfortunately, I found myself in a situation where I thought what I said was harmless. Like, I thought we were all in agreement for the thing that came out of my mouth, right? Long story short, I'm an admin / moderator for a Facebook group, and the other admin moderator in that group was doing some things in that group. And the guy who is owns the group, runs the coaching business, he takes breaks from time to time. And so he was taking a break this week, and he put us kind of in charge of the group. And this other woman was kind of going into the group and calling people out that weren't active and whatnot. And so I thought that this was something that the owner of the group wanted us to do. So, I was, commenting under it and things of that nature. And so when he was asking we had a team meeting yesterday, and he said, well, what's kind of going on in the group? And I said that. He went like pitch white. He was pale. And the guy was so upset that we were doing that in the group. And the woman that did that got really upset with me. She's like, I can't believe you would call me out like that. I can't believe that you thought if you thought it was wrong, you should have said something. And I was like, well, wait a minute here. I didn't think what you did was wrong at all. And she was very much projecting onto me. And first of all, when he got upset about it, I felt awful. I thought that this woman probably thought, which she did, that I was calling her out. I was like throwing her under the bus, right? When that wasn't the case at all. I felt really embarrassed about it and really awful. And I realized that I had a lot of unresolved kind of trauma coming up, right? I had these feelings of guilt I had these feelings of being a people pleaser come back up to the surface. And I was like, oh man, she's going to be mad at me. Now she won't like me. And if she doesn't like me, you know, what am I going to do? And, we all have to work together and what have you, and it was kind of a little bit of a cycle about this. And I had to take a step back and really reframe my mind and change my perspective and my perception of what this truly is that's going on. First of all, it is old programming that was being fed through my brain. I don't know if you can identify with that, right? Like, have you had kind of a similar situation come up? And now we're acting out this old programming. So I had the old programming coming up. I wanted to please everybody. I wanted there to be harmony. And now I caused chaos, this dissonance in the group, right, amongst our admin team. And I felt extremely guilty for that. And the owner, it was funny because the owner knows me so well. He actually called me up afterwards and he goes, I know what you're going through right now. You didn't even say anything. And I know that you feel guilty about telling the truth. And I know that you feel uneasy about it, that you just pissed everybody off. But I want you to know, I want to thank you for having that slip up and come out of your mouth. Because I already knew that was going on in the group. I was watching. But since it's my off week, I didn't say anything. And he goes, honestly, I was going to let it slide, but it really did bother me. So the fact that you brought it up meant that it needed to be addressed. And it's funny, right? Because it was a person that is very involved in my reality pointing out to me this patterning that he sees with me, this storytelling, this way that I attach myself to this child that has to feel like she needs to make peace among everybody, that feels the need to please everybody in her reality. And when he said that to me, it really all clicked. And by the way, this was all in a span of 20 minutes. Sometimes when we're going through it, I don't know if you can agree, it feels like so much longer. I'm like, why is this freezing in time, agonizing, anxiety ridden, because I felt the anxiety kind of coming up in me too. And I was like, oh no, here we go again, right? But even if I say, here we go again, I'm attaching to it. So my friends, that's to say to you, what stories, what perceptions, what programming are you attaching yourself to that you can't fully speak the truth from time to time? That you can't fully express what is going on? Where you can't fully express yourself maybe and your truly authentic self because you're afraid to offend somebody. You're afraid of what they might think if you are to say what you truly thought. I always idolize myself as being Switzerland. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to rattle the cage. I'm just going to come in, do what I need to do, and kind of go home. Even if I find something morally unjust, even if it's not ethically sound, even if that person is completely wrong. In a sense, in spirituality, we are taught to not give in to that, right? We don't want to fight it. We don't want to have resistance. And it makes for a much smoother ride on the spiritual path. Yes, in a sense, but also speaking your truth is a major block as well. Because when we're unable to speak our truth, we're unable to really, truly be ourselves. And that was another lesson that kind of came up for me yesterday. I wasn't fully being my true authentic self because I felt bad after. I felt guilty. And as empathic people, maybe you felt this way too. And if you have felt this way, I would like to know in the comments. Let me know. Let me know how you have spoke your truth and what stories, what programming kind of came up for you, and how did you move through that? And maybe you haven't spoke your truth. What are those blocks kind of coming up for you when you don't speak your truth, when you don't tell somebody truly how it is? What does that look like for you? And these are the questions that you kind of need to ask yourself when we want to move through this and alchemize and change our reality. Because I hate to break it to you, when we don't even have to attach ourselves to these stories. But when we have these unresolved traumas and this programming and these patterns and what have you, they still linger in the body. They still linger somewhere down in the subconscious. And we need to work in ways of journaling that, asking ourselves these questions in deep meditation. And without attaching to it too deeply, we can move through it. And then when we are able to move through it, we are able to step into our power more. We are able to co-create more. We are able to manifest what we want into our reality at a much quicker rate. And with all of that, we can come more into union and more into Christ consciousness with ourself. And when we are like that, things will come up in our reality. But are we able to then speak the truth? Are we then able to truly, authentically express to somebody what we agree with, what we don't don't agree with? And if you are already doing that, I understand that sometimes you can bring up chaos in your life, but it is also programming patterns and what have you kind of come up, and we just need to move through that. We need to let it go. We need to surrender to that. And we can do the work, and we can let go of story, and we can come back to right here, into our heart space and into the present moment. Thank you so much for watching this video and for commenting and subscribing and liking my videos. It truly means a lot to me. Thank you so much, tribe. I will see you soon.